He still calls me his hero. Every single night before he sleeps, he looks up at me with those same innocent eyes and says, "Good night, Dad. You're my hero." And every time I hear that, something inside me breaks a little more, because he doesn't know the truth. He doesn't know what really happened that night. He doesn't know why his mother never came back. He doesn't know why her scream still echoes in my head every night. For years, I told him stories. Stories about courage, about doing what's right, about being strong. But deep down, maybe I was never any of those things. Maybe I was just trying to hide behind those stories, trying to make myself believe I was a good man. He thinks I saved him. But the truth is, I'm the reason he lost her. Sometimes when he falls asleep, I sit by his door and just listen to him breathe. Because that sound, it's proof he's still here. And for someone like me, that sound is the only forgiveness I've ever known. Mornings are his favorite. He always wakes up before me, runs into my room, and jumps straight on my chest. He laughs so hard I almost forget how heavy my heart feels. Almost. "Come on, Dad. You're gonna be late," he yells every day. Late for what, I never know. Maybe he just likes seeing me rush around, pretending life's normal. I make pancakes every morning, even though I don't like them. She used to make them. The first time I tried, they were terrible. He still ate every bite and said, "Mom would be proud." The smell of burnt batter still reminds me of burning rubber. Sometimes he helps me mix the batter now. He spills more flour than he uses. But when he laughs, it fills the room in a way silence never could. He talks about her sometimes. Not much. Little things. How she used to hum while folding his shirts. How her perfume smelled like rain. And every word feels like a gentle knife. After breakfast, we walk to school. He holds my hand tighter whenever we cross the street. He says he doesn't want me to get hurt. He doesn't know that once, I should have held her hand tighter too. When he's at school, I sometimes park outside, just to watch from a distance. I tell myself I'm keeping him safe. But maybe I'm just afraid he'll grow up and not need me anymore. Because if he doesn't need me, then what am I left with? There was a time I used to laugh like him. Back when Emily was still here. We met in college. She was all sunlight and noise, and I was the quiet type who thought too much. She used to say I looked serious even when I was happy. She was the kind of person who could find beauty in anything. In broken glass, in storms, in people like me. She painted. Not professionally, but she'd leave little canvases all over the house. Small things, a teacup, a sunrise, a pair of shoes by the door. She said she wanted to paint the world before it faded. Our house was never perfect, but it was full. Her laughter made walls feel warmer, and the day Ethan was born, she said, "You have to be his hero now." I promised I would, and for a while, I believed it. Until that night. He came home from school, eyes bright, shoes still muddy. "Dad, we're doing family trees in class. Can you help me fill mine?" I smiled before I knew what to say. "Of course, Bud. After dinner, okay?" That night he spread the paper on the table, boxes and arrows all over it. He'd already written Ethan in the middle. Next to it, Dad, Matthew. Then an empty space. What was Mom's full name again? "Emily Grace Turner," I said. The name tasted like dust in memory. He wrote it down carefully, then looked up. "Do you have any pictures of her?" "My friends are bringing theirs tomorrow." My heart missed a beat. "Yeah," I said quietly. "I'll find one." After he went to bed, I sat there a while, staring at that blank space beside my name. It felt like a mirror, a space I could never fill. When he was asleep, I went up to the attic. The air was thick with dust and rain smell. It felt like time hadn't dared to move since the day she left. Inside the old box were scraps of another life. Her scarf, his baby shoes, a photo of the three of us. She was laughing, sunlight caught in her hair, and tucked beneath that photo, the thing I'd prayed he'd never see. Thunder cracked outside, and I was back there again, headlights cutting through the rain, her voice saying my name. Then nothing. A police report. Fatal collision. Driver under influence. Witness, Matthew Turner. One glass to calm the fight, another to quiet the shame. She'd gone out to breathe, and I followed, thinking I could fix everything. Instead, I watched it all disappear in the flash of those lights. People said time heals everything. They were wrong. Time doesn't heal. It hides. It buries pain beneath routines, laughter, pancakes, and bedtime stories. Until something digs it up again, every time it rains, I still smell her perfume. Or maybe it's just the guilt pretending to be her. Morning came too soon. He found me at the kitchen table, eyes red, the photo trembling in my hands. "Dad, did you find one?" I nodded and passed it to him. "She loved you more than anything." He smiled at the picture like it was the first time he'd seen her. And I felt the world split in two, the one he lives in and the one I can't leave. Ethan came home quieter than usual. His shoes were lined neatly by the door, something he only did when something heavy was sitting in his heart. At dinner, he barely touched his food. "Dad," he said finally, "my teacher said we could bring more pictures next week, if we find any." His voice was steady, but his eyes weren't. "We'll look again this weekend, buddy," I said. He nodded. But that silence. It wasn't the kind kids make when they're shy. It was the kind they make when they already know. That night his light was still on. When I opened the door, he quickly hid something under his blanket. "What are you doing up so late?" He hesitated, then pulled out what he'd been hiding. A photo. Not the one I'd given him. Another. The photo trembled in his hands. I could hear the rain again, even though it wasn't raining. It was the picture from her car. "The same car from that night, Dad." His voice cracked. "Were you there when Mom—" He couldn't finish the word. My throat closed. "Ethan, why didn't you tell me?" I wanted to lie. God, I wanted to lie. But his eyes wouldn't let me. "I thought if I was good enough," I said quietly, "maybe it would erase what happened." He blinked hard. "You said you were her hero." "I tried to be," I whispered. "But that night I wasn't anyone's hero." Silence filled the room. Then he reached out, his small hand finding mine. "You're still mine," he said. And just like that, the weight I'd carried for years broke open. He didn't move, didn't speak, just held my hand, steady as the world came apart around us. Outside, the rain had stopped. But even when rain stops, it leaves puddles, and every reflection still shows what you've lost, and what's left to save. Years passed, and Ethan grew taller than me. His voice changed, but his laughter didn't. It's strange how time reshapes everything except the things that matter most. We talk about her sometimes, not with sadness, but with something softer. He'll say, "Mom would have liked this," when we burn dinner or drive with the windows down. And I smile, because he's right. She would have. Sometimes when he tells his own son stories, I hear pieces of mine in them. He doesn't know it, but he's rewritten them, taken my broken words and turned them into something whole. I used to think forgiveness was something you earned, after years of guilt, silence, and trying to be good. But it isn't. It's something you receive, quietly, from the ones who love you enough to stay. Every time he calls me Dad, a piece of me forgives itself. Now he has a son of his own, and when that little boy runs through my door yelling, "Grandpa," and I see it all over again, the same light, the same hope, maybe that's how life heals itself, through small hands that never stop reaching for you. Sometimes when Ethan hugs his son, I see the man I could have been if I'd forgiven myself sooner. Maybe that's what redemption really is. Not starting over, but learning to live with the cracks. Because heroes aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who get back up, even when their children are the ones teaching them how. And that's the truth my son still doesn't know. Not because I kept it from him, but because he already lives it.